Breaking news, LaMelo Ball on his way out in Charlotte. It appears that's the way this is trending, with the dynamic guard now open to getting traded away from the Hornets, and the Hornets wouldn't seem to mind that either. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. 70% of you are not subscribed. Let's fix that. Hit that subscribe button. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, big baller brand, LaMelo Ball. Sounds like things are not going well in Charlotte with the Hornets, and he's open to going somewhere else. The NBA trade season could be heating up early this year.
Yeah, I mean, that may be the case, but I still don't expect him to get moved anytime soon. This is the type of thing that if you're Charlotte, you want to sit on and get it done. So, but it's nice to have another star level player's name out there in all this stuff as we continue to get more and more of this. We got AD and all that stuff. So seems like this season is going to be pretty interesting. I believe last season was as well. But on him, I'm not super surprised. I'm not super surprised. I've got to find ways to be more surprised at stuff. Anyway, I'm not super surprised because I think with him, he's kind of at a point where he doesn't really like the direction things are going, and it seems like it's moving a bit away from him and his play style. So, but I wouldn't be surprised, as we're going to elaborate on here, if this kind of goes both ways.
So Charlotte is 19th right now in offensive rating, according to Kelly Eco of Yahoo. The Hornets, who lost to the Indiana Pacers, a disappointing road loss. The Pacers had just won one game in the whole season at that point, and the Hornets dropped that game. Hornets are now 12th in the Eastern Conference, have a 4-11 record. LaMelo Ball has grown increasingly frustrated with the organization and is open to a trade. He got benched for the final 432 of regulation in the 127-119 loss, and that may have been the last straw for LaMelo Ball getting benched there. But he finished the game with 18 points, but 5 for 21 shooting and 6 turnovers. Like, to me, that sounds like there was just cause to sit LaMelo down. But again, if he is, I think LaMelo sees himself as the guy, and this is my perspective, he sees himself as the guy for Charlotte. And for a little bit, Charlotte thought he might be the guy. Now they don't seem to think so. And if he's struggling in the game and turning the ball over and not shooting well anyway, and you're trying to win, maybe sitting him down is the right decision. This reminds me in some ways of what we've seen with John Morant in Memphis.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's one thing I was going to say is I think that several of these guys are kind of in this spot where they're in for rude awakenings, where, these teams are trying to do more like ball and player movement, this and that, and they want to do certain things. And these guys, it doesn't really fit their play styles, and it's kind of started to cause some contentious things for them. And I think that for LaMelo, he may be one of the most polarizing players in the entire NBA, just in terms of like actual skill set, because with him, you have a guy that plays he plays such an inefficient brand of basketball, but the talent is certainly there, right? And when they thought that he was the guy for them, the talent is there. The talent tells you he can be that guy. But the brand of basketball he plays, I wonder if at any point soon it would lead to sustainable winning. But the most important thing with him is he's played in like 55% of the games he's been eligible to play in because of the injuries. It's always something. He's always hurt. When you look at his entire career, his career high is 75 in games played. That was his second year. The next closest is 51 his rookie year. So like every single year, there's a 22 games played year. There's a 47, a 36. He's at 9 out of 15 or so this year. Every single year with him, it's been one thing. So again, I think that it may be best for both sides to kind of split.
Well, so Ball's efficiency is cratered, shooting just 38.5% from the field and 30% from three. And we're rounding up to get there.
Yeah.
However,
don't look at his game log since returning from injury, by the way. It's brutal.
We'll take a look at that next. But look at this, 17.3 points per 100 possessions better with LaMelo Ball on the floor than off. Like, that's got to matter too, right? I mean, that they're a better team. Now, that said, could that be a talent deficiency in Charlotte over he's a good player who just doesn't fit particularly well, but just from a talent perspective, putting him out there makes you better? Is that where we're at with Charlotte, or is this a sign that maybe you can win with him out there?
I mean, don't hear what I'm not saying. There's still a Trevorism there. I do think because LaMelo, I've seen it a lot. Like I said, I'm very online all the time. I've seen it a lot with him, where there's people that always question him, and then he has like very staunch defenders too. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I do think he can play winning basketball. I just think that his game isn't serious enough right now to be a main fulcrum in that, and then also the health. But it's a little bit of both. He's a great playmaker, great assist man out there. He's averaging 9.5 on the season, and so obviously they're going to be better with him out there and generating offense. But also, admittedly, it's a bit of both. For example, Miller also hurt, played 2 games this season. He's one of their main pieces. They've got good production from other pieces like Colin Sexton there. Obviously, Bridges does his thing. Kalkbrenner. Yeah, like these guys, they have been good for them on the season, but it's still not the most talented team overall. So when you have the best player who's also the best passer, best playmaker, obviously these guys are going to get better, slotting, and it's going to look a bit better when he's out there. But I don't know if it's just because he's a great player overall yet, right?
Oh no, Donnie, we've got some breaking news here too.
Oh no, don't do it. You said, oh no, it's bad. Don't do it.
It's bad news. It's bad news.
Don't do it.
Domantas Sabonis, partially torn meniscus, out at least 3 to 4 weeks. That's awful. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about where LaMelo Ball can go and why the Hornets are looking to move him potentially. And we'll talk about this Sabonis news right after this. We'll be right back.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top player. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code Bulletin. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Great presenting sponsor for our channel. That is Sleeper. Made a few picks here myself. I took the free square on James Harden because, of course, we're going to take that for the bearded one. Donnie, I tried to show Sacramento some love here. I'm rocking with Russell Westbrook, 14.5, and maybe even more so now with Sabonis out. Rebounds and assists with Russ. I went ahead and grabbed that one. Once again, to get 100% match, you use code Bulletin. You guys can see lots of different options on Sleeper to choose from, plenty of different things to take a look at. And I also went with our guy, Zach LaVine, as well. I thought, hey, if Russ is going to rack up the assists, Zach LaVine may be the beneficiary. So I went with him as well. You guys can check that out. I've got Harden, Westbrook, and LaVine. And if you guys want to give Sleeper a look, use the link in the description down below. We always appreciate it when you guys help support the companies that help support us and keep us going and keep us growing. Okay, the Sabonis thing we'll talk about in just a moment here. That obviously is, and maybe this makes the Kings even more interested in the trade front in one direction or another. We could certainly start dreaming up LaMelo Ball to Sacramento trades or something like that. In fact,
God, that's the last thing they need. Actually, no, I don't mind that so much.
Is there a 3-team trade? Can we combine the chaos in Memphis and Charlotte and Sacramento and somehow wind up with like Ja Morant with the Hornets and LaMelo in Memphis or in LaMelo in Sacramento, and then like Memphis gets like Dennis Schroeder and these grit and grind style pieces that can come back. I don't know. Just we can start playing with the trade machine, of course. But the important bit of news here, though, is that it's not like LaMelo Ball's asking out, and the Hornets are like, hell no, we're not trading you. The Hornets are increasingly hesitant about cementing Ball as a foundational piece. They're disillusioned. What a word, disillusioned with LaMelo Ball, and they're open to move him. So LaMelo Ball is telling the Hornets, hey, I want out. And the Hornets are saying, okay, cool, there's the door. The problem is his contract.
Disillusion is ridiculous. Actually, we thought you were something special, but we don't think so anymore.
Yeah, right.
That's brutal. I do think LaMelo he's a hell of a player, dude. Like, he really is. He's also really fun to watch. I was talking about how serious his game is. He is really fun to watch. If you haven't sat down to watch LaMelo play, he just tries stuff out there that nobody else tries. And I was knocking him for it, but it's fun to watch. I'll give him that. Yeah. So
do they need him in Memphis then? They want to put butts in seats?
I mean, actually, that may not be. If that's your goal, that may not be bad, because they're struggling with that even with Ja lately anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, on that, like if they actually really do feel like they're better off moving off of him, because clearly, if that's the case, they either think they need more time on this rebuild, or he's not the guy, and maybe multiple things. Maybe he's just not the guy that they want to build this all around. Then yeah, I think that it would be a good idea to try to trade him. But the most important thing is, while he's a great player, like I mentioned earlier, he's played in about 55% or so of the games he's been eligible for. Will that magically change? I'd hope so, but I do think that teams would be wary of that. And then the contract, it's kind of hard to trade him, I think.
That's the problem. It's the long-term contract, and teams right now, any money that even is slightly negative value, teams are like, nope, we're out. Not in this CBA. Yeah. You cannot have bad money on the contract. Every
right now,
team,
is he a negative value just because of the availability?
I think he probably is. I mean, the Yahoo article calls him an albatross of a contract. That albatross price tag gives pause to rival front offices. Just that's a lot of money, and you can't pay that much money for. It's the same situation with AD, where rival execs will say, well, we can't pay max money for Anthony Davis when he's only available for X percentage of games. LaMelo Ball isn't the 35% max that AD is, but still, it's the same concept. You can't have max money and a key role and slot on the team as this is our guy, and have your guy not be there. And then when he is there, if there's the questions about the efficiency as well, I think that's going to give enough teams reason to hold off on potentially making a deal. That said, it only takes one. And Donnie, I still think, given that he's 24, how exciting he is, like, I think some team, I don't think a bunch, it's not like Milwaukee makes Giannis available, 29 teams get on the phone. Somebody will talk themselves into LaMelo Ball.
Even though I think that's the deepest position in the NBA, I do still think that he could be one of, like, he's clearly an all-star level guard, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think this is just the case of, big stats on a bad team like we see all the time. I think he could be successful. I just think he needs to fine-tune his game, be more selective with the shot selection, things like that. But that's stuff that can be fixed, other than the health, obviously. So what I would say on this, though, is it's interesting that the Hornets are interested in playing ball, because typically teams, even if they are interested,
they're interested. They're benching Ball.
Yeah, but I mean, oh my God. What you did there.
I couldn't help it.
You got me there. No. You got that was a good one. I walked into that one. You got me. I can't say anything on that one. I had to think about it. Like, wait, what? Oh, I see.
What are you talking about?
No. Yeah. So it's interesting because typically teams don't say that they're interested in getting rid of X player. They say, no, we love him. We don't want to trade him, because you keep more leverage that way. So I do wonder if they are more likely to, because this is a situation with that contract, with the health, even with the age and the talent ceiling, I do think you would have to sell the asset low. That's what you're doing in this case, right? I think that you're selling him low. If you trade him, especially sooner than later, you're selling low. You're not going to get back the horde of picks you'd probably want for a player of that talent at that age, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's interesting.
Well, are you really going to get back the return that you want if you're Charlotte, period? I mean, if teams already have the concern with the salary, with the efficiency on the floor, it's going to be tough to find the right trade. I do think there is a world where the Hornets can trade him and get more efficient, maybe better, but it's going to depend on what comes back. And it may end up being kind of like we talk about with the John Morant type trade, and maybe they just trade the two guys for each other. I don't know. But where it's going to be, it's not like, hey, LaMelo Ball is available. Cool. Now we can go get Jalen Brunson or something. It'll be more like if we're going to flip LaMelo Ball and turn him into another player rather than draft capital, it's going to be another player that is kind of on the outs with their team too.
Or somebody young that's a prospect type player. Now it's hard to do it that way because he makes so much money already, but you could get back some other young pieces. But I think that ideally you may just wind up in a situation where you get matching salary with some picks back, right? You may not get a star level player back like a Ja or something.
Zach LaVine for LaMelo Ball and
you Pat just want Zach to have 10 guards, point guards, don't you? Like they're giving up a wing and getting back another point guard here.
I know. I know. I just like, but Sacramento wants a star, right? Like that's what they're
giving up a swing man, I should say. Nobody
giving
says
up a
that
swing.
anymore.
But you're right. I mean, they're giving up a two, but still,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just it'll be interesting to see what team talks themselves into it. Now let's talk about this. Look, I do think there's a very real world here where LaMelo Ball is moved by the trade deadline. I think we could be living in an NBA. We wake up on February 6th, the day after the trade deadline, and Anthony Davis, LaMelo Ball, John Morant, they're all on different teams. They've all switched teams. And now we've got Domantas Sabonis out 3 to 4 weeks. Sacramento is 3-12 on the season. Russell Westbrook has taken over as their starting point guard. They are a minus 11.6 in net rating. They're only slightly better than the Pelicans right now, who have had a brutal season in their own right. Mm-hmm. Are we finally at the point where Sacramento just says we're going to blow this up and we need to find it's that word they don't want to use, but rebuild? Are we finally there?
Yeah, probably, but we've been there for a while. Really quick, can you show me Russ's lineup data, like on off type stuff?
Yeah,
I'm
let me grab that. I want to look at the schedule ahead. So let's say he's out for a month. How many wins do you see between now and let's call it Christmas?
The Laker game. I mean, they may beat Memphis, probably. I don't know. It's going to be a toss-up. Denver, mini losses. Phoenix loss. Utah, toss-up, probably.
That's right. I think they're in Memphis today.
Okay. So that's today. So that's probably a loss. So loss.
And Ja is out. And Jaren Jackson is out.
I still think they're losing. I see maybe 2 wins in that entire stretch.
Man,
things could go differently. Of course, any team could win any night, but I see maybe 2 wins in that entire stretch.
So a team takes them lightly on any given night, and that could certainly happen.
That's possible. The good news is for Sacramento, they've got their own pick, so it don't really matter. They may mess around and finally get that number 1 pick, and
they're taking just fine without trying to, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so they're good.
Russ on the court. The Sacramento Kings are an awful minus 12 per 100 possessions. Let's go Russ off the court.
This is a bad versus worse situation because they're bad regardless.
Russ off the court, the Sacramento Kings are minus 12.7 per 100 possessions.
It's a wash.
So basically nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Only the names have changed.
I'm interested in that because he's performed well for them, especially as he's taken that starting role. Dennis has been the one that's kind of been underperforming. But yeah, I think with them, there was that. I think the big thing about this, which by the way, when you said, "Oh no, yeah, breaking news," I thought it was like Luka and that lob or something. I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" But I don't want to say thankfully, but I'm happy it's not about that.
No, I mean it's still a significant injury. Right? Here's Russ, by the way, shooting even well from 3 on the season too. Yeah, he's doing good things. They're not winning, but he's doing some good things out there. Yeah. No, but I mean it's an injury to an important player, to a very
that they're
talented
trying to
player.
Trade also.
That they may be trying to trade. And now this is going to set, now we're not going to see him back on the court till it could be 2026 by the time we see him on the court. If it's 4 weeks, then there's a ramp up and all of that, we may not see him out there. And so this could set back the Kings trade plans. This is tough. And especially a team that's already losing, they may be inadvertently tanking, but this is also not really where they wanted to be.
Yep.
It may end up be where they needed to land, though, if this pushes them to say, okay, we're not a buyer, we're a seller on the market, despite what we want to talk ourselves into. We are not in the mix. Let's be real and let's look to the future.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, again, this will just help them further down that path. So there's a little bit of a blessing in disguise there. But of course, you never want to see a player get hurt. You never want to be without a player. I want to make sure that's very clear, right? And in terms of Sabonis, I don't. There was talk earlier in this season about, him not being as happy that they're not running stuff through him as much and all these other things. And it's been certainly an interesting ride with the Kings in this stretch here. But I think that in terms of him, the player, that salary, we've talked about it. It's kind of hard to build a team around him as your primary big. Maybe he needs to go back to like a double big lineup, something like that. But it's just so much money to invest as well. 42, 45. in a guy making that amount of money and him not being that caliber player, in my opinion. So he would have been hard regardless, is my point to trade. But he'll be especially hard now.
If you were an NBA team and fit aside, who would you rather trade for, LaMelo Ball or Domantas Sabonis? Similar, not exactly the same, but similar salary size here.
Ball. I think you get much more consistent production out of Sabonis. And it's also apples to oranges, big versus small, younger versus in the middle of his prime. But I think the runway is longer, and I think the talent ceiling is higher. But again, Sabonis is great too, so I don't want to take anything from him. But
a lot of it would come down to fit, but just in a vacuum, I mean, who has more value? It should be Ball. I think it is.
I mean, 5 years matters, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Interesting. Well, look, not good news for Sacramento, and now the Hornets in a spot where they may be looking to move. Well, we know they are looking to move LaMelo Ball, and LaMelo Ball is saying, yep, I would like that too. The NBA trade market heating up. Again, we could see a very, very active trade season around the NBA. Remember, December 15th, the unofficial start to trade season, because that's when most of the contracts signed over the summer are trade eligible. But there is no rule that says a trade couldn't happen right now. It could happen right now, but very rare that it does, but it could happen right now. Typically, we see trades pick up end of December into January, and then, of course, in a big way, usually right before the trade deadline, which is February 5th this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see LaMelo get traded for Luka Doncic.
Why would you do that? Why would you even speak that into existence? Mavs fans are fist pumping right now.
Could you imagine that? That'd be... Oh, wait a minute.
What?
LaMelo to Dallas.
For who? For AD? Three-team trade. AD because I don't think AD makes. Well, the Hornets do need a big, but he's not. It doesn't make sense there, right?
Do it
timeline wise. AD to a third team, stuff to the Hornets, LaMelo to Dallas.
You know what?
And it's LaMelo and Cooper flag.
LaMelo and Cooper would be so fun. And then the rookie coming in and said, man, we said Ja. Like, that would be fun too. But LaMelo and Cooper would be fun, man.
That could be fun.
But I think Dallas fans would have a heart attack with that.
They probably would. Could you, like, if there was, and obviously Nico is gone, but if they were upset with Luka's habits, and you're going to bring LaMelo in, who is less available than Luka was, that would be tough. But anyway, this will be something certainly to keep an eye on as we get into trade season around the NBA. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Once again, please make sure you do subscribe. Let us know in the comment section, where should LaMelo Ball wind up? Where should Ja Morant wind up? Anthony Davis, what should the Sacramento Kings do? Another injury now hitting them. Should they all just swap players and shuffle deck chairs on the Titanic? What needs to happen with all these clubs? Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.